Regarding men, number 21. Bill Maher is a bigot and an idiot.
Okay, hello everyone. I think we are here at episode 21, if I'm not mistaken. And I am here, I'm Janice Fiamengo, and I'm here with Tom Golden of Men Are Good, and also with Paul Elam from A Voice for Men and An Ear for Men. And we are continuing with our Father's Day theme, actually, because we found one of our supporters sent us a clip by Bill Maher, the political comedian, who had a special message to the American people in relation to Father's Day, saying that while the Republican Party has generally been considered to be the father's party, and the Democrats are generally seen to be the motherhood party. The Democrats are those he claimed to care about education and care about health care, while the Republicans have traditionally been those who cared about the bottom line, who were for fiscal responsibility and that sort of thing. And his point in this little clip, and we're going to show you a part of it, was that the Republicans now should rightly be referred to as the deadbeat dad party. So we'll show you a bit of that to begin with.
And they used to take their role very seriously, the no-nonsense, keep you safe, pay the bills party. But Republicans really aren't the daddy party anymore. They're more like the absentee father party. Going through the midlife crisis, making bad decisions with all this pretend confidence. It's like the entire party's wearing a toupee. Under Trump, they've become the deadbeat dad party. The dad who spends money we don't have and who blows the family budget on stupid shit, like a wall we don't need. As for those of us just trying to survive in this American family, we have to come to terms with the reality that the daddy party is the asshole dad party now. And the patriarch of it all is a hot mess. And you know what happens when daddy's a useless piece of crap, right? Mom has to take over. And that's why Democrats, they're no longer the mommy party. They're the single mother party. They're the party that has to work 2 jobs, because daddy went out for cigarettes and never came back. The single mother party now is the only one that cares about the kid's future. The Republicans, they're the party of the Koch brothers. Pollute all you want now, because tomorrow, not our problem. We'll be gone. Happy Father's Day. But keep in mind, if Republicans made a commercial for life insurance, it would go like this. You love your family, but what if you weren't there to take care of them? Oh, well, shit happens.
So there you have it. Isn't he funny? Isn't it just wonderful to hear all of these terms of derision and scorn and contempt for the father who fails to make his payments, or who is the absentee dad, as Bill Maher says. And he used terms such as, and here's a man who's worth, what, $100 million, speaking in such a contemptuous manner about men who can't make their child support payments. And he talked about absentee fathers, asshole dads, deadbeat dads, dads who go through a midlife crisis and just go all, irresponsible and crazy, the dad who spends money we don't have and blows the family budget on stupid shit. And of course, he also says knowingly that what happens when daddy's a useless piece of crap because mom has to take over.
Of course.
So he claims that Democrats have become the single mother party, and that's the mom who has to take over because of the absentee dad. He's gone off to get cigarettes and never comes back, so she's got to hold down 2 jobs to take care of everything. So that's really nice. Great political metaphor there, Bill. Slandering men who don't make their child support payments.
Yes.
And of course,
on Father's Day.
He sprinkled in a lot of direct personal insults at President Trump in the process of this, insults about his family, insults about his wife. Of all things, an entertainer like Bill Maher making insults about a woman having cosmetic surgery, and making insults about Donald Trump wearing makeup, as he sat there looking in a camera with a face full of makeup on. And I'm sure there's probably been a little nip and tuck in his past somewhere. He's at that age, but we won't get into the hypocrisy of it now. The main point was he wanted to draw this big analogy that we all can relate to about worthless asshole dads who don't pay their child support and who go to get a pack of cigarettes and never come home, and these poor, forlorn, saintly women that are left behind to provide the only nurturing and caring. And he referred to the Democrat Party now as the single mother party. And let me be the first to say that I agree with him entirely when it comes to living off the government tit, sucking up welfare money, squandering services, producing offspring that are voted most likely for gang involvement and being sent to prison, for creating drug addicts, for filling up all the Section 8 housing. Yes, the Democrats have become the single mother party, and he actually said this like he was proud of it. So way to go, Bill, I guess.
Yeah. The thing that got me was that here he was doing this on Father's Day. It's like, wait a minute, isn't this just one day when we're supposed to be kind to dads and honor them for what they've done rather than tear people down? From what I saw, he wasn't just attacking deadbeat dads or dads who don't pay or dads who can't pay. I saw it as he was attacking men in general. He was just lambasting the women are the good and the men are the bad. And it was like, you got to give him a little bit of leeway because he's an entertainer, but when a little bit, but when it comes to something like this, it's just too much.
Yeah.
It's too much when you're trying to split people. He's trying to split people so that it's, men bad, women good. And we've seen all kinds of splitting, Republicans bad, Democrats good, blacks good, whites bad. All of these splits right down the middle. It's crazy. What we're doing is we're pushing ourselves into conflict, where it's just going to go kaboom. And he is a minion. He's a feminist minion who's happy to push that kind of bullshit on people. And it's just annoying. And it's sad, really.
Yeah. And so completely untrue. It
Yes.
really bothers me, that, I mean, what we're saying, I guess, is it's so obvious in a way, but this multi-millionaire who cannot imagine the agony of a man who finds himself in a situation where he can't make his child support payments. And, study after study, and we'll have some links in the low bar, study after study has shown that men who can make their child support payments do make them, because the vast majority, it's like 90% of children who are in the result of separation are being regularly supported, and in the cases where they're not being supported, it's because the father can't support them. And so to have this multimillionaire mocking and deriding these people, obviously he has no clue about the agony that they experience. And we know that these men are at terrible risk of committing suicide. They end up in jail for not being able to make their payments. I wonder if he's ever bothered to look into why it is that men can't, in some occasions, make their child support payments. And certainly it's
No, I just want to say I would vote absolutely not. I don't think he's ever looked into it. And the reason I say that is because, like so many liberals, the liberals are the ones who are supposed to be about, inclusiveness and anti-bigotry and about being open to, but they're always, the liberals are always the ones who will identify whatever groups are still acceptable to go after as a group. And they're the most boisterous about it. They're the ones always attacking men. They're the ones always attacking whites. And of course they attack conservatives. Anybody, yes, and Christians is another one. They go after, and they've started in on Jews in a very big way.
Crazy.
But for the most part, I mean, when you see him dealing in one stereotype after another, the deadbeat dad, I mean, this is all imagery off the side of milk cartons that he's relying on to get his point across. And the thing is, he's lying about a lot of it.
He's definitely lying.
Was that they showed a picture of Donald Trump in front of a wall saying squandered a lot of money on shit we don't need. The Obama administration increased the national debt more than every other presidency in American history combined. That includes Bush. I mean, you go through the numbers.
Yep.
When you look at the graph of spending and debt, you see it took a big jump with George Bush, but then when Obama got in office, man, the line went straight to the heavens.
He doubled it.
Yes. And Bill Maher was complaining about $997 billion. Where he got that number from, I don't know, just shy of $1 trillion. The debt's $22 trillion. It was half that much when Obama got in office. Of course, Bill Maher conveniently forgets this.
Yes.
Well, I guess he was too busy attacking fathers and men.
And not caring about infrastructure.
Right.
And here Trump's trying to get the Democrats to come in and work on infrastructure, and that's because Trump says this is my deal. This is what I do really well. Is this kind of building, and they won't do it. They won't come in at all. So it's like it's just one more thing that he did that was just so disingenuous.
Yeah. No, it's just unbelievable. And to make that your political metaphor, the absentee dad, the dad who doesn't care. Men who are frivolous, who allow their children to be in need, who care only about themselves and their trivial desires. It's a extremely popular myth in our culture. If you say deadbeat, I bet there's nobody in North America or the Western world who isn't able to supply dad as the thing that comes after that. In Ontario, for example, and I'm sure in many other provinces and states, there is a website called Good Parents Pay, and it puts up pictures of deadbeat dads, or they say deadbeat parents, but I looked at the website, it's all pictures of men.
Right.
Because of course, 90. But I've got the actual 87% of children end up living solely with their mothers after separation. So only 7% are solely with their fathers. Anyway, so it actually puts up these pictures, many of them torn from past family photos, but now just with the dad there, so that people can help hunt down these fathers as if they're wanted criminals. It's just horrible.
They are,
exactly. Yeah, as if they're dangerous, and need to be taken by vigilante action or something. It's so terrible. And that myth that there are so many of these fathers out there who don't pay simply because they don't care has resulted in this horrible, horrible surveillance system. This horrible system for controlling men's lives, for invading every aspect of it. And of course, what anybody who has looked into the situation knows is that men don't pay when they don't pay because they can't, because they've been put in situations where they're ejected from the family home. They have to find another place to live, often while still making payments on the family home, which has now become their wife's home. They're separated from their children. They're distraught. They're having to find another place to live, a place that's good enough that they can have their children come and stay with them, so it can't just be a little hole in the wall. So all of a sudden they have double what they've been paying before. On top of that, huge lawyers' fees because they're fighting to be able to see their children. They may be fighting against charges that they've made their wives fear, or that they've been involved in some kind of assault or misconduct of some sort. So they have all these payments. It's unbelievable that so many can make them in the first place. Then on top of that, they're experiencing the incredible distress of their situation that may plunge them into depression, sometimes suicidal despair. They can't speak to anybody about that, because if it becomes widely known, that's going to then affect their ability to have access to their children. So, so they're dealing with all these mental and emotional problems as well. And it's so easy for them to fall behind on their payments, and then they're stuck in this horrific cycle. Often then the ex-wife will deny them the opportunity to see their children if they haven't made their payments, even though those are supposed to be two separate things. It's just a horrible, horrible thing. And there's a really interesting article by a guy named Stephen Baskerville, who talks about the myth of the deadbeat dad and how it has been, the fact that we have that as this entrenched idea in our society has made it possible for the state to take on this horrible surveillance and enforcement role. And he talks about cases, for example, a case of a fellow in Texas. He was a janitor. He was spent 10 years on death row. He was finally exonerated. When he came out of prison, guess what was waiting for him there? A $50,000 bill for child support that he hadn't paid while he was in prison. This is one of the cases. Another case was a father who was arrested for failing to pay child support during the 5 months that he was a prisoner of war in Iraq. Another example, in Kansas, well, you guys know these cases, a teenage boy was ordered to pay child support to a grown woman who was criminally convicted of sexually assaulting him. And he goes through all these cases. So this is the system that we've created, and we've been able to create it because most of the public believes that there are all these men out there, just like those ones that Bill Maher is talking about, who just don't give a damn and aren't responsible and are more interested in buying themselves a red sports car than feeding their children.
And they are the problem. It's these men that are the problem. And if only these men weren't like that, life would be wonderful. I mean, that's the whole underlying assumption of all this bullshit. And I think Stephen's article is a thing of beauty, because he really just puts the focus down on what's really happening. Mm-hmm. So we'll make sure to link that one below. Yeah. It's well worth having a look at.
Yeah. There's another element to this too that is certainly worth mentioning, which I've seen happen over and over and over again. Guys that, they're clinging on to every penny they can make. They're scraping the sofa for change. They're eating ramen and macaroni and cheese box dinners in order to save money on groceries. They work as much as they can. They're constantly worried about it being incarcerated, being picked up from their jobs. They get behind on the child support. But they do all this, they get it together, and they pay most or all of the money, and then they get some time with their kids, and the first thing they hear is, Mama said you don't pay the child support because you don't care if we eat. They're living this life where they are scraping for everything they can possibly get their hands on so they can make sure they can see their kids. And part of it too is for them is that they don't want the world to see them as a father that doesn't care, because they do. They love their children and want to take care of them.
Yes.
And the state garnishes their income. They live poorly and terribly. Some guys have been reduced to living in their cars. I've worked with men like this. Right. And then they get to see their kids, and the kids will start ragging on them about their dumpy little apartment. And mom said, if you cared about us, you'd get a nicer place. This is what they're living with. This is the reality for so many disenfranchised fathers. That's the reality they live with every day. And then when they get to the point, they say, I can't take this anymore. And they say, I just want to crawl in a hole and die. And some of them do suicide. And some of them just give up and quit seeing their kids. And it's not because they don't care. Of course, when they do that, then they've given the ex all the ammunition she needs. Of course, he quit seeing you. He doesn't care. This is one of the most corrupt systems we have in this country. It is.
I agree.
Horrible.
They're alienated by the state. They're alienated by the courts, and they're alienated by their ex-spouse, who now tells the kids there's something wrong with your dad. What a horrible place for men to be in. I mean, it's just incredible how we've dug ourselves into this kind of hole,
Yeah.
So all of you dads out there who are busting your ass, know that at least the three of us love you for who you are, and your efforts that you're putting into this. Because it's tough, and we understand how tough it is and how easy it is for people to look at this whole thing about deadbeat dads and just assume the worst about men. That's just disheartening as hell.
Yeah. When somebody like Maher goes on about it, the fact is that women initiate the vast majority of divorces. So if you're going to talk about the adults who don't care about the family, who don't care about the children, who renege on their responsibilities and their commitments, it's the 70% of the women who are initiating divorce proceedings. And why wouldn't they, in a way? Because we've created a system now where men have to pay to have their own children stolen from them. Wow. I mean,
crazy.
It's so crazy when a woman knows that she can get rid of the husband that she's not in love with anymore. She knows she can have the kids for herself, and she's going to be financially supported by court order. So we're encouraging the breakup of families. We're encouraging women to do this, and we're forcing dads to pay for their own agony. It's really quite tremendous. And to see Maher laughing at that and mocking Kanye West for talking about his own experience of fatherlessness and how he was inspired by Trump because he had noted that that masculine energy was missing from his life, and Maher just makes I didn't even understand the joke. I didn't get it, but anyhow, some joke about liking big asses. The callousness is really just astounding.
Over the edge.
Yeah.
It's over the edge.
They get a pass. They get a little bit of a pass for being comedians, I guess, like Tom said earlier. But for me, the whole point of comedy is to get us to laugh at the very serious realities that are just difficult to deal with. Mm-hmm. Maher is getting people to laugh at lies, at bullshit. He's like exposing a fake problem. And instead of getting us to take a conscientious look, like many good comedians do, they force us to look at things that are uncomfortable but true.
Yes.
Maher's he's missing the mark entirely. He's not getting us to do anything except laugh along with our own bigotry.
Exactly.
He's scapegoating. Scapegoating. He's just focusing on this group and throwing mud. That's scapegoating. This is not humor. This is not comedy.
He's reinforcing cultural myths and prejudices rather than challenging them.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not a Bill Maher fan, so I don't watch him very much. I'm not an expert. I think sometimes he actually is quite politically incorrect, as his previous show used to be, and I think sometimes he is funny, and I have colleagues who love him, and I think sometimes he does go against the grain. But on this particular topic, wow, it was amazing. He's just going with the cultural stereotypes rather than challenging them at all.
Yeah. Indeed.
And quite frankly, as you said, Paul, what he said, the only thing he said that was true was this idea of the Democrat Party as the single mother. I would also say that the Democrat Party is the devouring mother, to use that psychoanalytic term. This is not about caring. This is about false caring. This is about creating false dependency. This is not about not allowing people to grow up and to make their own decisions. This is about manipulativeness.
Yes.
That's for somebody to think that that's a healthy thing, that's something to be celebrated.
And perhaps Maher was unintentionally revealing something about his own family of origin in this too. Because
You think? What was he revealing?
Well, I mean, I look at Joe Biden, and I know, for instance, that Joe Biden came from a family where there was a lot of physical abuse, and he came out of it with a great propensity to rescue women, to reduce women to victims and damsels completely, and to reduce men to being perpetrators. Wow. He was agreeing with me.
Yeah, you got a response there, Paul.
Want to agree more?
He was saying, yeah. But looking at Maher's blindness, when he's in a profession that should give him a view past the veneer, past the facade of many issues, he doesn't see past that. And instead, he could have been Joe Biden sitting there. And so it wouldn't surprise me if when Janice said devouring mother, I thought,
Yeah, that sums it up pretty well.
I would love to get a view of Bill Maher's family of origin.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to poke around a little bit.
If he's let any of it out, Biden can't control his mouth, so we get that.
That's the truth.
But speaking of Bill Maher, I, for one, I think we've discussed this, and he is certainly qualified. He is one magnificent puta.
Yes, he'll be riding in his concealment in no time.
Yes, in his concealment for sure.
Oh, God.
How he did that with a straight face.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Oh, yeah. How funny that Trump who puts on concealer as he sits there wearing all of his makeup. Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, you can scrape his makeup off with a trowel.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so we thought we would give our humanitarian award to Stephen Baskerville, who's done a lot of work essentially on the state as devouring mother, the feminist state, and what it's doing to men and families. He's done a lot of fantastic work, really excellent books.
Yeah, Taken into Custody was his first book. It was just an excellent piece of work. And I think he's got another one out. I forget the title.
Yes,
now.
he does. It came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It's called the new sexual. It's something like the new politics of sex.
Yeah.
The new sexual politics. I can't remember the exact title.
We will get you a link below.
We will link it all in. And Stephen is he's ahead of his time by a bit. He's saying things that other people aren't even thinking about quite yet.
And has been for a long time.
Yeah. I love Stephen.
He is amazing, and just the depth of research. Everything is extensively annotated.
Yes,
he's gone through court records, and he's amazing. Really.
So he gets the humanitarian
research like Mark Levin does.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So good going, Stephen. We love you.
Thank you.
Indeed. So Stephen gets the humanitarian, and the PUTA goes to Bill Maher, right?
Bill Maher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So So are we good?
I can't imagine we're giving somebody from the entertainment industry a horror award, but
Fancy that.
if the puta fits,
Wear it, baby.
wear it.
Yeah.
It. That's it. He can wear it. That's good. So we're finished.
I think we are.
I think we are. Yeah.
And the newsletter. We've got a newsletter out, guys, and we'd love to have you join us. And
Link
it's
below.
a way to keep in touch with what we're doing in case we get the axe from YouTube. You'll know how to find us, and we'll know how to find you. So we'll have a link below to where you can sign up for the newsletter. And it comes out like once a week.
Yep. Once a week. You're not going to be flooded with messages, but very happy to say there's nearly 5,000 people on the list. We would like you to add your name to that. And
Yes.
we want to build the biggest list of people interested in men's rights that's anywhere around for the Regarding Men series. And so we hope you join us.
Indeed. Indeed. So on that note, men are good.
They are.
As are you. And so we're taking off.
Okay.
All right, let's see if I can turn it off without leaving.